Kasserine Pass, Tunisia, February 19, 1943. The Wehrmacht won this battle. German Panzer IVs cut through American positions. Rommel's Afrika Korps inflicted 6,500 casualties in 5 days. By every conventional measure, it was an American disaster. But in the signals intelligence tents of the 10th Panzer Division, something was wrong. German radio operators intercepted American transmissions throughout the engagement. What they heard defied explanation. Scattered American tank units, separated by 50 miles of broken terrain, were coordinating movements in real time. Crews who had never met were warning each other of threats, calling artillery, repositioning. Their voices were impossibly clear. The German operators' own sets produced static at half that range. For 70 years, documentaries have told you the Tiger tank was the apex predator of World War II. They've shown you the 88mm gun, the 100mm of frontal armor. They've called the Sherman a Ronson. Light's first time. They are wrong, because a Tiger tank was deaf, dumb, and blind, and a Sherman was part of a brain that spanned continents. Here is the paradox that should have been impossible. If you're interested in how wars are actually decided by logistics, math, and doctrine, subscribe now, turn on notifications, and stay tuned for more in-depth World War analysis. Let's continue. Germany invented radio-coordinated armored warfare. In 1937, Heinz Guderian published Achtung, Panzer, the doctrinal Bible of Blitzkrieg. Chapter after chapter emphasized one principle: communication is everything. Tanks without radios, Guderian wrote, were blind and mute. His invasion of France proved the theory. In May 1940, German armor punched through the Ardennes because panzer commanders could coordinate in real time while French units relied on dispatch riders and telephone lines. So why, by 1943, were German tanks fighting with technology 5 years obsolete? The answer is industrial economics. A single FUG-5 transceiver, the standard German tank radio, required precision manufacturing that German industry couldn't scale. In 1943, Germany produced approximately 5,700 medium tanks. They manufactured fewer than 2,000 full transceivers. The math doesn't work. Most radios went to command vehicles. Regular tanks received FUG-2 receivers only. They could hear orders but couldn't transmit, couldn't report, couldn't warn. When a command tank was destroyed, easily identified by its antenna array, entire platoons went silent. The Wehrmacht prioritized the Übermensch, the ace commander in the superior machine. America prioritized the system. July 22, 1941. The United States Army standardized the SCR-508 radio for all medium tanks. While German industry struggled to equip 20% of their armor with transceivers, American engineers at the Galvin Manufacturing Corporation, later Motorola, were solving a different problem entirely. The problem was physics. German FUG-5 radios used amplitude modulation. AM encodes information in signal strength. Every electrical discharge, every spark plug firing, every track motor, every nearby artillery burst, registered as noise. Inside a moving tank, AM receivers produced static that drowned human speech at ranges beyond a kilometer. The SCR-508 used frequency modulation. FM encodes information in wavelength variation. Electrical interference doesn't change frequency. It changes amplitude. An FM receiver ignores it. The technical result, German crews described their radios as buzzing and crackling when engines revved. American crews said theirs sounded like a telephone. But FM alone wasn't enough. The SCR-508's BC604 transmitter delivered 25 watts, 2.5 times German power output. 10 crystal-controlled preset channels maintained frequency stability that variable capacitor German sets couldn't match. Dual BC603 receivers let commanders monitor platoon and company nets simultaneously. Range 7 miles moving, 10 to 15 stationary. German FUG-5 1 mile moving, 3 stationary. Under ideal conditions, Motorola's Chicago factory produced over 50,000 SCR-508 family sets during the war. Virtually every combat Sherman, all 49,000 of them, carried sophisticated FM radio equipment. No other nation achieved this. Soviet T-34s, the most produced Allied tank, typically fought without any radio at all. A 1943 directive pushed for universal radio fit. By war's end, perhaps half carried sets. German Panzer divisions fought with 80% of their tanks unable to transmit. The Americans built a network. Everyone else built vehicles. November 8, 1942, Operation Torch landed American armor in North Africa. The Afrika Korps was the Wehrmacht's most experienced armored force. Rommel's veterans had fought across 2 continents. They knew desert warfare. They knew their machines. They did not know what they were facing. During the Kasserine fighting, German signals officers noted a disturbing pattern. American units that broke under pressure reformed within hours. Scattered companies re-established coordination across distances where German radios produced only hash. Every American tank appeared capable of full transmission, not just command vehicles. A German intelligence assessment noted, American units maintain communication at ranges where our equipment fails. This suggests either exceptional training or technological advantage. They never determined which. The battles that followed, Tunisia, Sicily, the Italian peninsula, confirmed the pattern. At Cassino, American tanks coordinated through mountain valleys where multipath interference rendered German AM sets nearly useless. FM handled the reflections, the network held. But the network had a flaw. June 6, 1944, Normandy. American Sherman tanks rolled off landing craft with the most sophisticated mobile communication system in history. Within weeks, that system nearly killed them. The Bocage, Norman hedgerow country, compressed combat to ranges under 100 meters. German infantry with Panzerfausts could approach American armor through vegetation so dense that tanks 50 feet apart couldn't see each other, and the network went silent. Not because the radios failed, because they couldn't connect. Tank SCR-508S operated on 20 to 27.9 megahertz. Infantry SCR-300 walkie-talkies operated on 40 to 48 megahertz, incompatible frequencies. The billion-dollar FM network had a fatal gap. Tanks couldn't talk to the riflemen dying beside them. The solution wasn't engineered in a laboratory. Somewhere in Normandy, a maintenance crew welded an ammunition box to the rear hull of a Sherman. Inside, an EE 8-field telephone wired directly to the tank's intercom system. Infantry could sprint through hedgerow fire, slap the handset off the hook, and scream coordinates directly into a tank. Commander's headset. The grunt phone cost $5. It saved more lives than any single improvement to the Sherman's armor. By Operation Cobra, July 25, 1944, the modification was standard. The network adapted. The Wehrmacht couldn't. Aricourt, Lorraine, September 1944. This is the battle that proves the thesis. The German army assembled 5 Panzer brigades equipped with Panther tanks, the most formidable medium armor of the war. The Panther mounted a high-velocity 75mm gun capable of penetrating Sherman frontal armor at over a kilometer. Its own glacis plate could defeat American 75mm rounds at any combat range. On paper, the Panthers should have annihilated the 4th Armored Division. They didn't. Over 3 weeks of fighting, the 4th Armored destroyed 281 German armored vehicles. They lost 41 Shermans, a 7-to-1 kill ratio against superior tanks. The reason? Information dominance. Every Sherman at Aricourt could report enemy positions instantly. Tank. Destroyers received targeting data from tanks they couldn't see. Artillery forward observers in Sherman command tanks called fire missions that arrived in 3 to 5 minutes. German Panthers fought as individuals. When one spotted an American position, it could only engage with its own gun. Adjacent Panthers, sometimes hundreds of meters away, knew nothing. German fire missions required 15 to 30 minutes when they arrived at all. The Panther was a gladiator. The Sherman was a neuron, and the brain destroyed the body. March 7, 1945. The 9th Armored Division discovered the Ludendorff Bridge at Remagen intact. Radio reports reached 1st Army headquarters within minutes. Within an hour, divisions across the entire front were redirecting to exploit the crossing. German forces, dependent on telephone lines that American aircraft had systematically severed, couldn't respond with comparable speed. Counterattacks arrived piecemeal. American radio coordination from units that had never trained together created an integrated defense that shattered each German thrust in detail. 1 month later, the Ruhr Pocket. American armored columns from 1st and 9th Armies executed a double envelopment coordinated entirely through radio networks. Inside the pocket, 325,000 German soldiers found themselves cut off, partly because their own communications had collapsed. Field Marshal Walter Model's final transmissions before radio silence. No contact with adjacent units. No communication with higher headquarters. Fighting continues. Coordination impossible. The Wehrmacht that invented Blitzkrieg died mute. After Germany's surrender, American technical intelligence teams evaluated captured equipment. Their conclusion: German tank communications were approximately 5 years behind American systems. The absence of frequency modulation, limited transceiver distribution, and poor electrical suppression created vulnerabilities that no amount of armor or firepower could overcome. Soviet evaluators, given access to both German and American captured sets, chose to copy American designs for post-war development. A story circulates, possibly apocryphal, that Field Marshal Wilhelm Keitel told his captors at surrender, "We knew how to build better tanks. You knew how to make them work together." True or not, the statement captures a reality the Wehrmacht learned too late. America did not build 49,000 Sherman tanks. America built 49,000 nodes in history's first armored battlefield network. The principle established at Ericourt governs warfare today. Modern doctrine calls it network-centric warfare. The side with superior information defeats the side with superior platforms. The connected overcomes the isolated. In 1991, coalition forces with networked communications destroyed Iraqi armor equipped with individually superior Soviet-designed tanks. In 2003, the pattern repeated. The revolution began in 1942 when the first Sherman, with an SCR-508, entered combat. From that moment, the calculus of armored warfare changed permanently. The best tank is not the one with the thickest armor or the largest gun. The best tank is the one that knows where every other tank is. Germany built knights. America built a hive mind. The hive won. If you enjoyed this story, hit subscribe for more World War II historical deep dives every week. Thanks for watching.